Hello and welcome, friends. I am Neelam Ganatra, PT trainer from Aussizz Group Perth. Today we are here to discuss the structure of PTE, some overall tips, some common mistakes that students make very often. I'll be taking you through the different 20 tasks that are coming up in PTE exam, and it is using the official Pearson's guide that we have. So now I'm going to show you the different tasks here. As you can see on the screen here, the structure of PTE is divided into three sections. The first one is the speaking and writing section. The second one is the reading section. And the third one is the listening section. The first, as you enter the exam, the computer asks you to test your microphone, headset, and everything. It also asks you to give a personal introduction about yourself. In this task, many students, they think that it is not being marked, so they just skip the personal introduction, but this is not what you're going to do in the exam. I highly recommend that you do give your personal introduction. There is a reason why Pearson is asking you for that sample voice. The second step is the read aloud, where your official marking in the Pearson exam begins. Here you will be given one passage. I'll be showing you how it looks like. This is the personal introduction section, and this is the window you're going to see. Your name will be displayed on the top when you're giving the exam. Timing and everything will be there in all the sections. And this is your read aloud section, where a passage will be given to you on the screen, and they're giving you 25 seconds to just look at it, and then you'll be asked to speak it in 40 seconds. The trick here is, because students feel that it is just a creamy marks given to you, there's a passage you just have to read, there is nothing else you have to do about it. But the trick here is, other than just reading, there are lots of marks in speaking which come from your intonation, the rhythm, the stressing, chunking that you make in the speaking section. And so if you're not a native speaker, you're not used to all those phrasing. And so when you notice native speakers from now on, if you're into the preparation of PTE, you will notice that whenever they say something, they're always in a singing mode. After every 3 to 4 words, if you remember the school time grammar, a sentence is made up of phrases. So after every 3 to 4 words, there is a chunk. And this is how the speakers say. When they begin a chunk, they go up, and in the middle, towards the middle of the chunk, there is a peak in their intonation, and when they are ending the chunk, they fall down. And this is how their rhythm pattern is forming. And when from now, if you practice listening native speakers, you listen to academic podcasts, etc., you will be noticing these chunks. And now you have to, while listening, you have to start speaking, because listening and speaking are very much interlinked. Your speaking will be highly influenced by the way you listen. The more you listen to native speakers, the better you will be at speaking. In this task, what I mean to say is, you have to practice all those intonations and chunking. Other than that, the key idea is, you should be knowing where to put the right stress on which word is more important when you need to put the stress. So two things you'll be focusing. You go up and down with your chunks, and also you'll be stressing some of the keywords that you feel are important. This is the way you'll be getting higher score for this task, that is read aloud. Another tip here is, some students feel that they are not very confident with the pronunciation of some words. So maybe if you're targeting for higher score, you need to practice your pronunciation. And a better way of knowing whether the computer is able to understand your pronunciation or not is, use the artificial intelligence you have on your phones these days. Maybe use the Google Assistant. There are many other softwares as well, which will tell you whether, if you have a Google Assistant at home, for let's say you have Siri, you come at home, you say, hey Siri, how are you? Switch on the blue light for me. And if it's turning on some different light for you, then that means that there is some problem in your pronunciation. So use all these artificial intelligence methods to understand which words you're not really confident with, and just try to either improve those words or just avoid using those words in your real PTE exam. The next task we have is the repeat sentence. This is very important task. And some students, because they feel I'm not good with memory, I'm not going to focus more on these tasks because I cannot get the marks. It is definitely about memory, but there is no way a human brain can remember 15 words at once. So let me just give you a brief introduction what you are supposed to do in this task. This is how it looks like, and the audio will be played, a sentence will be played for you, and you need to repeat the sentence exactly as you hear. Now, it is more about not the memory, but how you focus on the pauses that the speaker is saying. Because the sentences will be said by native speakers, and as I told you, there will be a rhythm in their speaking. So after every chunk, there is a small pause. Going back to our school time when we were asked to memorize long tables and essays, etc., the teacher used to say just break them into small parts, and then you will be able to remember well. And this is how you have to do in this. You just listen to the sentence, try to notice the pauses that the native speaker is taking, those are the chunks, and then don't try to remember 15 words at one time. Your brain can remember 3 to 4 chunks at a time. And so just focus on those chunks. And with practice, this is how you'll be able to do it. Another thing is the beauty about this is even if you are not able to remember all the words, some words, if you remember and speak out in the right order, you will be getting marks for those words at least. So it's a proportionate marking system there. Next task is the describe image. This is a challenging task because you have to think on your toe, not thinking about some academic stuff, but you have to think about the words, English literature, what you can use to describe the images. So any sort of image can be given to you. As you can see here, you'll be given some 25 seconds to prepare, and then you have to you'll be given 40 seconds to speak. Um, Speaking about the time limit, there are rumors that if you want to score higher in PTE speaking, you need to speak up till 40 seconds, like till the end, and speak as much as you can. But well, I would recommend do not try to speak more than 30 or say let's say 35 seconds, even if you're targeting for higher scores, because if your sentence is cut midway by the computer, it will assume that you're not having good command over the language. So let's just say there's a tip that if you see the 30-second is hit, which wherever you are in your speech, just say in conclusion or just conclude your word there and there. Just say one sentence to conclude your speech, and that will be a good way to end your speech. Always begin with some introduction, end with some conclusion, because that also tells the computer that you know how to speak, you're having good command over your language. For conclusion, just keep some words ready with you, like in conclusion, conclusively, all in all, etc. All these words will really help you. Any sort of image can be given to you, as I told you. It can be a map, graphs, academic graphs come up. There can be any random pictures of some empty landscape which you don't know really how to describe a landscape. So the tip there is you can maybe use or you can start describing maybe from left to right, top to bottom, middle to outward, outward to inward. Let's say there is a green landscape, there is nothing else. Just start from left. I can see some grass, then I can see a small puppy. Whatever you see, different colors, you just start describing them. And easily in 30 seconds, you'll be able to find something on the screen that you can speak of. In terms of graphs, academic graphs, every word on the screen is a keyword. This is another a good point to understand throughout PTE. What are keywords? Keywords, usually they are longer words, they are nouns, adjectives, etc., which are of importance and which the computer is looking for. And these are the words you'll be getting marks for in terms of content. So if you're given graphs or let's say map or anything, whatever words you see on the screen are keywords, so you need to use them in your speech. This is how you will be giving your describe image task. You will be starting with introduction. Just say about something that the words that are shown to you, make sentences out of it, grammatically correct sentences. Don't try to be innovative. Native speakers are not innovative, and PTE exam is judging you based on how native like you're speaking. So just try to have short, simple, or maybe compound sentences, but don't aim for complex ones. And then always end with a conclusion. Next task is the retail lecture. This task is more about content management, and there are lots of tasks coming up in PTE which demand good content management skills. So in this task, lecture will be played. It will be usually for 60 to 90 seconds, and you will be given 10 seconds to prepare for it. And then you will be preparing your speech, and as soon as the microphone starts, you will be speaking. Again, you will be given some 40 seconds to speak, but you need not speak till the end. You have to just summarize the lecture, what you heard. Okay, so what you can do in this one is you have to look for key ideas. For instance, sometimes the lecturer will be taking a long pause, or he or she will be clarifying herself. Oh, what I mean to say by this is, or she'll be like, so all these are hints inside the lecture which tell you the point that is coming up now is of key importance, key idea. So all these key points you will be covering up along with your main idea, the main topic of the lecture, and you will be adding just the supporting ideas this way. You will be starting with an introduction, you will be ending with a conclusion. You will try to speak till 30 to 35 seconds. All this is about content management. But keeping that aside, if you're not even fluently able to or confidently able to speak, if you're hesitating, if you didn't understand the lecture, let's say, then in that case you will not be focusing more on content, because there are lots of tasks in PTE which will give you a chance to improve your content marks. That is still manageable. But once your fluency bar is down, your hesitation and etc starts, your ums and ahs etc start, it is very difficult to go back on track. Content is marked, like, let's say, individually marked for every question, but fluency, intonation etc is a single bar, and once it goes down, it is very difficult to get it back. So do not focus more on content. This is content they are giving you just so that they can make you speak. So just focus on your fluency. This is how you're going to address that task. The next task is the answer short question. This is how it looks like. They'll be just asking you one question, and you are supposed to answer it within, let's say, 2 words, 3 words. Now, this is not about the GK, your general knowledge. Of course, if you know the answer, you'll be getting more vocab marks. But the trick here is, if you don't know the answer, you are not going to sit silently as the microphone starts. You are going to just repeat 2 or 3 words from the question itself, which you heard. There are high chances, if you're lucky enough, that the words that you hear and just restated are keywords. And so you might get even content marks for it if you're lucky. But the point here is, you do not have to compromise your fluency. You do not have to hesitate or think even for a second when as soon as the microphone starts. So just say whatever words you hear. If you know the answer, well and good. The overall weightage of this question is really low, so I would not recommend you spending time in your busy schedule for preparation, going through mugging up all the different short answer questions and everything. Just prepare it whenever you're sitting for your mock exams or your 3-hour exams. Just prepare for it then and there, and do not bother preparing it because the marks are really low. The next task is the summarize written text. Here, a paragraph will be given to you. And again, it is slightly about content management, how you are able to understand the keywords in the paragraph, keywords or key phrases of the paragraph. And then how you're able to summarize it. The trick here is they are asking you to summarize it in just one sentence. And so, of course, they are allowing you to write lots of words, but you're not supposed to write a sentence more than 35 words. Because many students, they write more and they come to me and they say, I was targeting for high. That's why I wrote I wrote a sentence with long words, but it is not really recommended, because even a good writer cannot write a grammatically correct sentence of more than 35 words, let's say. So if your sentence is between 25 to 35 words, you are still good to go. The point here is your sentence has to be grammatically correct. Number one. Number two, the content that you're including, you cannot include everything from the passage. So do not even aim to include all the key ideas. It is not possible. If you are able to do it, well and good, but that is not what the task is looking for. You just have to identify some 2 or 3 key ideas. This is what you understood. Just write them along with supporting details in one sentence. Try to write a compound sentence, means two ideas joining with and, which, where, all those connecting words, and then it becomes a compound sentence. And so you're good to go with this task. If you're really practicing high, you will be able to identify more ideas, keywords, and key phrases. Now, there are some students, what they do is just capturing some words from the passage itself. They just join them and they write them. It is okay if you're aiming low marks, but ideally it's just, copying. So at least if you're doing that, you can at least try to paraphrase the ideas that you copied and then you join them. So this will be a better way to get more marks. The next task is the essay writing. This is supposed to be really important. Many students believe that because if they have written a brilliant essay, they would be getting like full marks for writing, or let's say 79. But when they do not get it, they really get disappointed and they do not understand what mistake they made. The mistake that you're making is the essay writing is not, it is important, but it is not the only important component of writing. So when it comes to improving your writing marks, make sure there are more tasks that are coming now which are not even in the writing section, are equally, let's say equally, or sometimes even more important than essay writing. This doesn't let the importance of essay writing down. You definitely have to prepare, let's say write one essay every day or every alternate day, check it and everything, and that will be good to go. There are some 20-25 topics which are very frequently being repeated, but irrespective of them being repeated, the point here is you do not have to mug up something. If you're using some template, at least try to understand the template, because as per situation all your templates will be changing. So if you're able to understand it, use it well in the exam, that's fine. If you're not able to do it, you need to have some structure, because writing an essay in 20 minutes is not easy. So a structure where you can just maybe start the first sentence by a paraphrasing of the original question, and then let's say just one example, and let's say just conclusion or one reason. Again, you write such similar steps you do in all 4 paragraphs of the essay. 4 paragraphs are really good to go in this type of exam, and you just keep paraphrasing the same thing again and again in different ways. In between, you just add in your ideas, examples, opinions. Another thing is, with the examples, you can create your examples. No one is going to come and check them, right? So you definitely should create your examples. Don't waste time in thinking much. Your thinking an example can cost you just 1 minute. Just try to paraphrase more. Use your English knowledge here. When it comes to your written discourse marks, it is more about the variety of the way you're writing with. So let's say you're using an active voice in one sentence, passive voice in another sentence. Some sentences are simple, some are compound. Don't try to write complex sentences, but if you're naturally fluent with it, it's fine, because writing complex sentences is really a key gray area where people make mistake. So try avoiding them. So this variety of writing different type of structures, sentences in your written script is what gives you more marks for your written discourse, along with good spelling is also. So these are some of the tips you can use for the write essay. Very important task of PTE writing for sure. So now we are entering the reading task. The first task is multiple choice, choose a single answer. After this, we have multiple choice, choose multiple answer. Well, I will not be spending much time discussing about them, because those who are already into PTE have given it lots of times or are aware of it. Even those who are not, they might have already known by now that MCQs in PTE are not important. When I say MCQs, it means any MCQ. So it can be in reading, even there are lots of MCQs in listening section. Wherever you are given more than one choice to select from, it is not important. Having said that, you will not, the importance is not so diminished that you will be just skipping them, because if you skip them anyway, you're getting a 0. So let's say just give one attempt. If your answer is right, you will still get 1 mark. And that 1 mark can be really crucial for students who are struggling to get who are just left by 1 or 2 marks in the border from their target area. So try to give 40 seconds at least to every MCQ. And there are tips and tricks how you can match the keywords, the idea, and everything in all of these questions in those 40 seconds. The next task is the same, the MCQ that I discussed with you. After that, we have the reorder paragraphs. So this is how it looks like. You have to drag the options towards the right. The idea here is you have to arrange all these 4 or 5 sentences such that it makes one paragraph. And so it is tricky. If sometimes it is really easy, but sometimes it is really tricky for many students who are really practicing a lot, even because there are some tips you need to use here. One, in good English, the sentences are really having a flow, and that flow is governed by the connectivities they have. You might have come across words like additionally, however, etc. There is an idea behind using them, and how you can join. When you look at these words in this reorder paragraph, you know how to join them. Let's say if there is a word however, that means the phrase after however is exactly contradicting something which is said before. So that is how you join the ideas. Another hint that you can use is the use of pronouns. Okay, if some pronoun is there in some sentence, definitely there has been some description about that pronoun before in the preceding sentence or somewhere before that. So there are lots of such tips which can help you arrange the order of these paragraphs. The next task is fill in the blanks, and definitely you cannot ignore it. This is the fill in the blanks for reading, drag and drop. Another one after that is coming, fill in the blanks, reading and writing. Students ask me why they have kept 2 different sorts of blanks. What is the difference between why one is assessed for reading and another one is for reading as well as writing? Here it is more of your grammar skills. And so you cannot remember or you cannot go back to all of your grammar. You need to know just some basic stuff, like you need to know what a word type is, what are nouns, pronouns, adjectives, etc. How do you use the uh, verbs, or you can say the use of can, could, have, been, etc. What is past participle? All of these basic stuff, use of prepositions, all of this will really help you for this sort of questions. And of course, if you keep a habit of a frequent academic reading, not just any reading, academic reading as well as listening, because listening improves your speaking, reading will improve your writing. If you are more into academic reading stuff, you will naturally be able to find the blanks. But if you're not, you just need to go back to some basic grammar skills. This is the second task we have, fill in the blanks, reading and writing. They call it writing because it is highly dependent on the right choice of word, the semantics. What are the subtle differences between two words? Always in the options, in the drop down option, you will be having one answer which is absolutely right. Some options will be really confusing, and one option will be, let's say, just exactly the wrong one. And so you will always be confused between 2 to 3 options. And the difference between these, the definitions of these words is very minute. And that is the key to know it. Another hint here is have the knowledge of word collocations. Native speakers are not very innovative or creative with their speaking, let's say. There are a set of words which they always use together. Even Pearson is releasing its official academic collocation list every year or so. You can have a look at it as well. There is no way you can memorize it. But let's just say you just have a look at it, like let's say 5 pages or something every day. And definitely these collocations will help you somewhere in your exam. They will be there in your subconscious memory. But other than that, focus on collocations. That is the biggest tip you can use for this type of question. After this, you will be given an optional break. And many students skip it. They don't want to go out because essentially the break is for 10 minutes, but let's just say you are given 5 minutes, because as you go out, you give and take your passport, you do the palm scan again and everything. So you are just left with 5 minutes. And so students really don't, either they are in a hurry to complete the exam or too excited for it. But for whatsoever reason, they're not taking it sometimes. Always take it. Because the section that is coming up now, the listening section, it is actually not that difficult. It's just your mental state or the right momentum that you are not in at that moment. After sitting to a 2 hour long exam, it's really difficult to stay focused. And all you have to do in listening is just staying focused and focusing on your intuition rather than any other practice. So for that, you need to be in the right momentum and definitely take that break. After that, we have, so as you come after your break, you will be entering into the listening section. The first task we have is the summarize spoken text. Again, it is more of content management. You listen to a lecture and then you, instead of saying just in retail lecture, you write the summary. Here you're not bounded by the limit of just one sentence. You can use as many sentences as you can. Always write like 2 to 3 sentences, let's say. Do not try to be creative and write a long sentence or something. Write short, simple, or compound sentences. Join 2 3 ideas with and all those connectivities. While taking down the notes, definitely take notes for this task at least. While taking down the notes, focus on the ideas. The as I told you, I told you the hints in the lecture where they are going to introduce a new idea. Always introduce them in your summary, because that is what they are the keywords. That is what the computer is looking for in your summary. Other than that, if you are lacking content, if you do not understand the passage or anything, you can let's not say you can make up, but you can use some templates or something. But try not to be stringent to those templates. Try to understand them and as per situation mold them. The next task is the multiple choice, choose multiple answer. And now I won't be wasting my time and your time to explain to you that these are not important. One thing that I do want to make sure here that you know is, after listening to any audio, when you have to choose the options, always the answer is there with you in your short term memory for those next 10 seconds. So do not doubt your own intuition. After within those 10 seconds, as soon as the audio stopped and you're looking at the options, and if you're making one first choice, after 10 seconds, your mind will start playing with you. Maybe that's not the answer, this is the answer, blah blah blah, and then you change it. Firstly, it's not worth doing all of that effort, is really not worth in terms of marks. Secondly, there are high chances that the first option you chose was the right one, because it was based on your intuition. It was then and there, the answer was there with you in your mind within those 10 seconds because you had just heard the lecture. So trust your intuition. Next task is the fill in the blanks. It will be contributing towards your writing marks. And the answer to the students who are not able to get higher score in spite of getting a good essay or something they could do easily is because one of the reason is these blanks. There is one more task coming up for writing. In this type of questions, you need to have good knowledge of spelling. You need to be focused. So as soon as the audio starts, your eye should be moving with the line. If you miss somewhere, audio is somewhere else and you are somewhere else, it is very difficult to bring you on back on track. First thing. Second thing, you need to know spellings. Again, nobody can help you with spellings, but in the preparation time that you have before the audio starts, that is, let's say 7 seconds, you can notice where the blanks are. If you have one blank here, another blank here, it's fine because you will be having some space in between. But if there are two blanks adjacent to each other, they will never be side by side. There will be at least one or two words in between. But if they're adjacent to each other in just one line, then you will have to be more cautious. And all of this you can notice in those 7 seconds. So your mind will be active while the audio is playing. So use all these tips and tricks to in your exam when you're given those 7 seconds to prepare. The next task is highlight correct summary. The trick here is, other than it being the MCQ, is long passages will be given to you as options. And it is really difficult. It also contributes towards your reading marks. And it is really difficult to understand them sometimes in spite, even after listening to the audio really carefully from the beginning till the end. I will give you one example. If I say, I went to the shop, I bought a book, I paid the money, I parceled, and I went away. So there were lots of steps involved. Now in the options, 2 to 3 options will be having all of these steps, but they'll be jumbling with the order. Like I went to the shop, I bought the book, I parceled the item, I paid money and I went off. But essentially I had paid first and then I had parceled. And so in the options, they will be playing you around with the order of what happened. So if while in the audio you listen to some steps or some process taking place, you note them down in your erasable notepad. This is one of the tip. Second tip, as I said, you have to be cautious from beginning till the end. Most importantly, this is an MCQ, so it is not really important. So just based on your intuition within the next 10 seconds, just choose one option and move ahead. MCQ, need not discuss. This is also select missing words is a kind of MCQ, but what students do here is because the blank is in the end and you have to fill the blank with the options, one of the options, they think that we may not listen to the part which is coming in the beginning of the audio, but which is not true. Because sometimes the answer lies within that part which is said in the first half of the audio. Secondly, sometimes what students do is while listening to the first part, they select the option and they think the task is done. But as the speaker moves towards the end, like towards the blank, he himself contradicts himself. And so, whatever your answer was selected in the beginning might be contradicted towards the end. So, the biggest tip again is listen and focus from the beginning till the end. Do not skip in between. Next task is highlight incorrect words. This is having a negative marking. So a passage is given to you. They will be playing an audio. You have to move with the audio on the screen. And if some word is exactly opposite or incorrect as per the audio that you are listening to, you have to highlight that word. You cannot highlight all or maximum words. You should not do it because there are negative marks involved. Usually in one script, one task, 5 to 6 words are given negative. So that tip you can use if you're making more choices to just deselect some of them. If you're not sure of some word, don't select them. Have a knowledge of homophones, the words that are sounding very similar. PTE will always be using them in these type of tasks to confuse you. The next task is write from dictation. This is the last task of PTE and it is really important one. Some unfortunate students are not able to reach this task because of their lack of time management skills, I would say, because you're not really supposed to spend more time on MCQs. They will consume your time. They are designed for it by the PTE. So you need to definitely come to the end, right from dictation. They will be playing one sentence. You will be listening to it and you are supposed to write the sentence exactly as you heard it. Now, the tip here is the more words you capture and write in the same order, the more marks you get. And so definitely focus to the maximum extent you can. Another one is when you're listening, as I told you already before, try to focus on the pauses because the native speakers always take pause after every chunk. So you cannot remember 15 words, but you can definitely remember 3 or 4 chunks. So try to understand the intonation and the chunks, focus on the pauses, and recall all those chunks. As soon as the audio stops, quickly jot down your sentence. Do not go for improving the grammar. Just quickly jot down. If your typing is good, just type it, or you can use your erasable notepad. Some students prefer shorthand typing. They just write the first letter and not the other letters or whatever. You can use any of the tips that works the best with you. But the key idea is just quickly write it before it goes out of your memory because those words will be there with you in the next 10 to 15 seconds in your memory. Afterwards, you go back and correct your sentence. So this is how you're going to address all the tasks of PTE. Let me see if we have any comments so far. Yeah. So one question is being asked on, okay, how many marks does essay contribute in overall writing? Well, nearly it is around 10 to 11 marks, let's say. But again, they are approximation of marks. So you will never be knowing how many exact marks are going through essay towards your writing score. But as I told you, if you're practicing, let's say for 79 each, okay, you definitely have to focus more on the write from dictation, fill in the blanks in the listening section. And about the essay, you can write one essay every day or alternate days to make sure that you're not making any mistakes. Let me tell you one thing about overall marking of PTE. It's a deductive marking system. It's not an ascending marking system. So let's say in universities we were given 10 questions. If we answer 7 questions right, we get 7 on 10 marks. But this is not how PTE is working. If when you begin your exam, you are given, let's say, 90 marks, or if there are some buffer 100 marks, let's say. If you make one mistake, 1 mark goes. If you make another mistake, another mark goes. And so it's a deductive marking system. So make sure, if I focus only on essay writing preparation, make sure you're not making mistakes. Do not be creative. You're not getting any additional marks for being creative. As I said, it's not ascending marking system. If you make one mistake, your mark will be gone. Yes, it's 10 to 11 marks roughly for essay writing, and you just focus on being writing simple and short compound sentences. Okay, very informative session. Thank you, Abhinav. And okay, so this was all about the tips and tricks that you can use for PTE. Let me just inform you, we are going to run one master session on 25th of August in Aussizz Perth. If you just want to know what is PTE all about, what is the difference between PTE and other English competitive exams, should I be taking PTE or not, and just the briefing on some important tips of all the tasks, you can definitely join this session. And I hope all the best for your preparation, and thanks to all of you for watching. Cheers.